Happy Friday to everybody. Love to welcome all the loyal subscribers to the Independent Investor channel, and I do want to emphasize loyal. I have been putting this product out. I usually throw down on every Friday around 9 o'clock. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Love to have you. Talking about really in the trenches, investing, personal finance, what it takes to grow an IQ in personal finance. I don't necessarily think that it's something that should be expected to happen overnight for people. I think that's why a lot of my message is aimed at providing folks insight on how I've trudged through the minutia to get to where I am, and I speak plainly. I'm not one of those folks that does social media because I have to. I do it because I want to. I enjoy the product. I've put this out for 5+ years. The channel has grown. It's morphed as I have as an investor, and as I believe a lot of you guys have as well. Many of the subscriber base has been with me since day one. That's absolutely fantastic. What you can expect from my channel is a genuine approach to really speaking to members out there that need help in understanding the importance of this topic. Look, a lot of people aren't interested in personal finance. They're not interested in saving a few dollars. Hell, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be fun to just take your entire paycheck and just blow it all every month. I think it'd be awesome. You'd be called upon with what I would consider to be the masses. And I demand independent thought out of people. Look, if you're going to be called upon as an independent investor, you're not looking to make me or anybody else happy. You're really looking to prove it to yourself that you can do it. You can. And I provide those tidbits of information that are aimed at helping you. These are tried and true in my life. These are what has worked. These are the things that I have deployed and have seen through their rigor and application, how they work. We talk a lot of different things, and certain things you've got to do before you do other things. Okay. And I've been investing for most of my life. So if you can expect that I'm going to come on and I'm going to talk to you about, doom and gloom in the stock market. Oh my goodness, the stock market is crashing. Therefore, the world has to spiral out of control and fly off into oblivion. You're going to get a little bit more of a grounded perspective through downturns. I've been investing all the way prior to the 2000 tech bubble and before. So most of my life, I can remember being involved in financial markets, and it is one of those things that I speak of as a very important aspect of anybody's life who wants to try to get ahead. It is not the singular most important thing, but I think it's also one of the most controllable aspects. And I think people really underestimate the amount of mental fortitude that you have to have. And they look to supplement that with action all the time. Action, action, action. I've got to be doing something. I've got to look at the stock market. I've got to watch X number of YouTube videos every single week. I've got to read so many financial books. And although the self-education piece and the paying attention to markets, yes, there is some level of physical requirement in that at some point the transition of wealth from one account to another to actually purchase stock needs to happen. Okay, you're not going to go from a non-investor to an investor without, dare I say, purchasing stock. This is an investing channel. Stocks come in a lot of different forms, single stock being the most purest of forms. Mutual funds, ETFs, index funds, etc., come in a lot of different forms. Get into your fixed income, but you can start to segue what I consider to be the form of dollars in its physical sense. Start to break down money in a way that maybe you've never thought about money. And I would presume that the masses out there that are probably looking at money in a very, very singular box are probably living like I suspect a lot of people are living, paycheck to paycheck. You've heard the old onus. The inflows come in and the outflows go out. The inflows come in and the outflows go out. And a lot of people live this habitual cycle for their entire life. And until you can break that cycle, and it really does take a mental ability to kind of step back and say, am I satisfied with the inflow outflow? It takes you being critical. Perhaps maybe it takes somebody like myself to suggest maybe that you need to be critical over your own program. Look, hell, I'm not asking you to do something that I don't do myself. I'm critical over my program fairly often, fairly often, which speaks to some of the points that I'm going to talk about with continually evolving in your program if you truly want to end up somewhere special. Now, a lot of you guys might be saying, look, I've watched Ryan for 5 minutes. My life hasn't changed. I've got my lottery ticket in my wallet. I'm going to win $1.6 billion tomorrow. I'm good to go, Ryan. I don't need you. I laugh. I too am playing the lottery just for fun. And I'll let you know if I win. The chances are I will not win, and I'll just go out on a limb and say I will not win. However, in stock market investing, I find it interesting how so many people will gravitate toward playing a lottery that they also in turn will not win, as opposed to making more of a concerted effort to take control over those things in their life that they can in fact control. And that is personal finance, your personal discipline, your own personal savvy, your ability to make dynamic decisions on your own and make those decisions with confidence. It's not that hard. I think a lot of people feel like they have to go out and find that needle in a haystack. And that is just not one of those things that I demand of people. I demand accountability in people. I demand an ability to look at oneself, break themselves down, and actually look to reimagine themselves in a better place. And if you have that ability to do that, my message can resonate with you. If it doesn't, no problem. I bid you all the best. My position on social media is one that I take with great care. However, I can profess I'm not here to judge you. Okay. I look at the masses and I'm very, very disappointed in the amount of household debt that this country carries. I'm extremely disappointed on the reliance upon credit card credit in a lot of households in such a capacity that it becomes a detriment rather than an asset in your life, which I think is really, really unfortunate for a lot of people. We've all heard the statistics, a $400 unexpected expenditure in your life would put half of all households out there in some sort of financial bind. Why is that? Why is that? It's because we live the inflow outflow every 2 weeks, inflow outflow. And when something happens in that cycle, we fumble. And it's like we can't juggle the two balls at the same time, which is what we're used to. And we fall off kilter. We are creatures of habit. And breaking those habits and becoming more of a dynamic thinker and how you apply this financial game is super, super important. Now, the title of tonight's video is again speaking to the stock market madness and the world's going to hell, and you should absolutely just dive into your prepper bunker, never to emerge again. Um, where are we now? I'm not going to sugarcoat this year. 2022 has been an absolutely terrible, terrible stock market investing year. With that said, I would presume in the comment section that I left over on YouTube would suggest that as bad as it's been, as bad as Ryan professes that it has been, and a lot of you guys can attest that the portfolio has been tested this year. Some of you guys are looking at some paper losses. We don't sell in down markets. That's what we do. That's asinine. But we are looking at maybe some paper losses in some certain holdings. There really hasn't been a whole lot that's been immune to the downturn. But it's times like this in financial markets where we look at it with an objective and an educated lens and profess that this is the very time that millionaires are made. And I really want you to think about that. Um, Nobody's going to wrap this thing in a bow for you and leave it at your front door. It's just not going to happen. Now, if you end up being that lucky lottery winner and $1.6 billion, and you just so happen to be in my live stream, I would expect a little finder's fee and a little shout out. If you're one of the 1,000 patrons that make it into my live stream, I'll probably have about 100 that'll make their way into the channel this evening. But I find it interesting the difference between what is socially acceptable etc. playing the lottery. I picked mine up. I drove 6 hours today to get home from Virginia back to New York. I'm back, and thank you for the leave of absence. But I was standing in line. I wasn't going to buy one, and I saw 5 people standing in line. One guy in front of me was putting 20 after 20 after 20 after 20. He was buying for a lot of people, but 20 after 20 after 20 in the machine. And 1.6 billion or 1.2 billion, what's the difference? 1.4 billion. I think the payout is 31 million a year for life or something crazy. And if you took the lump sum payment, it'd be around 400 million. I don't know, just for fun, what would you do? Would you be one of the rare people and take the 31 million a year? I would. Take the 31 million. You end up getting paid like 900 million out of the jackpot minus taxes. But it's entertainment at best, but it is socially acceptable. You know what's not socially acceptable? And one of the main goals of my channel, if I can look back over this project over the years and might I suggest to make personal finance a little bit more achievable for people, a little bit less faux pas of a conversation that we feel a little bit more comfortable engaging in with our fellow mankind, family, friends, whatever it might be. People struggle and they're embarrassed by those struggles. They don't want to admit to those shortcomings. They all too often get caught up in you know, making purchases and expenditures not in the best interest of their own personal program, but rather to, you know, be able to show some level of status in this country. And I think there's a lot of merit to that. I think a lot of people want to show that they have something to offer, but material things are not how you do that. You get this stuff right that I'm going to talk about, and you'll be so much more poised to build a foundation and not a shoddy foundation that you can actually build something upon. You can resonate and take things away from my message and understand what it means to be organized, what it means to continually develop your core, and understanding that the work that has been put in years past in developing that baseline or that foundation in your own personal application is going to pay dividends later on in life, excuse the pun, but you're not going to be able to build upon a weak foundation. Okay. And I'm working on initiatives right now that are very complex, very multifaceted. Some of it has to do with estate planning and living trust, and putting the pieces in place. The final pieces, I might add, the will is complete. But to acquire some real estate, most of the accounts that I have are all done. I have about 20 accounts. Each of them have their own personality. Ask yourself, are you one of those people that have a 401k, a Roth, a savings, and a checking account? Is that good enough for you? It could be. It could very well be. For me, in my dynamic application, I typically try to cover the entire landscape. I'm a value investor at heart, engaging in passive income with the bulk of my wealth. I do some dividend growth investing as well. And I also do some speculation. And I'm going to leave you with a micro cap pick that I've been graciously introduced to over the past couple of days. I will be releasing a content on that on Monday evening. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. I would only ask that for those subscribers that have been with me for a long, long time, support that, because even though I do receive compensation, it's one of the very few ways that I receive compensation. It kind of puts me at ease for the amount of time that I put on this project. And so the support can be rendered, but this specific company, and I'll mention it now at the top of the live stream so you can actually have this and do your own research, is Aduro Clean Technologies. I've been introduced to the company. It's near and dear to my heart with regard to the amount of plastic that ends up in the environment. And if you're one of those people who believe that recycling is real, in other words, like plastic, when you drop it into the recycling bin, actually goes and 100% of that plastic gets recycled, you would be with the naive camp like me, in that over 80% of plastic actually ends up either in the sea or in landfills, producing that off gas to the environment. And if you read here, Aduro Clean Technologies has just partnered with none other than Shell Oil. in their game changer program. They were selected this week, and it's going to be a catalyst. I'm not going to promise one way or the other that the stock goes up or down. If nothing else, 2022 has proven to any investor out there trying to make sense of this stock market, has proven them wrong, and has proven the activity of trying to figure it out futile. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that is the way to approach this thing. What I would do is accept it as an introduction to the company. I've got about 15 hours total on the due diligence thus far. I will be buying a position in it, a 10,000 share position. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary for me. But I put my money where my mouth is, and I thought I would share that with you guys. I've shared it with a few people in my VIP community, and I hope they appreciate that. But stand by for those roles. The ticker symbol is ACTHF. Very intriguing. It's a chemical company that actually has the ability to break down those hard to break down polyethylene, polypropylene, polyxylene chemical products, even the contaminated ones, like your Tide bottles from Procter and Gamble, your Tylenol from Johnson and Johnson, all of those products. If you just think about in our lives how much we consume plastic, it's actually pretty sad that here we are in 2022 and we really have not found out a way to actually take that feedstock and turn it into either a usable oil or to actually complete the recycling loop and actually bring a product to bear. And Aduro has done that. They have broken through over the last 10 years of R&D, of research and development. They're bringing their product to bear. And funny enough, I know the story of Shell actually moving in a direction of another company. And then Aduro was selected out of left field, basically, at the last moment when they actually looked at their testing and the bench testing, basically, that was done over their product and their low heat, low energy ability to separate the complex molecules in each of those plastic products. It's revolutionary. It's a fascinating story. There is a press release that was announced within the last 36 hours or so. So you're going to want to check that out. It's a one page, it's an easy read, but fantastic initiatives toward something that I was extremely naive on. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. We're not actually recycling plastic. I thought we've been doing that for years. And lo and behold, it's something that has really baffled the large producers of plastic for many, many years in their inability. Now, there is a mandate coming through the pipeline here in 2025 from a global perspective that's going to help those initiatives along. But as far as Aduro goes, they were projecting basically an organic growth path, stepping into building the necessary reactors to actually take those to commercialization. And Shell has pretty much put nitroglycerin on that accelerated pace of Aduro. And it's going to be fantastic to watch its progress going forward. Take a look at the stock. Nobody knows that the stock even hardly exists. Half of the company is owned by insiders. The management is fabulous. It's worth taking a look at anyway and throwing on your watch list and monitoring those stories. And those are some of the funny things that I throw out. And, you know, social media is such a wonderful tool for those purposes. I don't have to share that stuff with you guys. I've done my due diligence. I'm buying shares myself. I share that story with you. Is it right for you? Well, I don't know. Only you can answer that question. But the ability to share a company that you might not have been privy to just 10 minutes ago is magic. Now, for a lot of people out there, microcap investing is not the way. Remember, the bulk of my wealth that I have is tied up in the passive income game, the gems of the stock market. But this was an opportunity that was made available to me, and I had the opportunity to do the due diligence. Now, the Shell news came out of left field, mind you. I was bullish on it when I was completed with my due diligence, and pleasantly surprised when I woke up the next morning and saw that they had been selected. So exciting stuff. Anyway, really appreciate you guys joining me. Thanks for the leave of absence. It was much needed. I appreciate you guys making your way in here and spending some time with me on a Friday evening. I hope everybody is well. I'll be back with you in just a moment. Retirement is awesome, and it's funny. You set certain goals for yourself. It's really funny too. The first time I met Becky, she's a wonderful subscriber. Her and her family have been part of the community here for now a few years, and we've gotten to know each other. And what a fabulous person! Give you a little bit of insight on what may actually help you in what I've actually learned from Becky, in that Becky kind of knew what she wanted, and she discloses that here. She kind of came to me and said, Ryan, I'm really interested in personal finance. I'm very much interested in dividends, to help get a little bit of supplement later in life. And it's like, how many other people can resonate with that message? I think it's super important to understand that there is no carbon copy way of doing this thing. I think people really need to retool their expectations about what is to be expected. In other words, I think the word gets out in the scuttlebutt across social media, yada yada. Hey, Ryan's really good with finances, and I am. I'm awesome at this. This is a passion of mine. I love doing it. I would do it for free. I just so happen to make a couple pennies through social media doing this, but I would do it for free. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. But what I have evolved to understand is that personal finance, in and of itself, no matter what I say, needs to be bought in by the individual that's taking on. Hence the idea of independent investing. The misconception out there that if people are to come into money, or they just happen to win this $1.6 billion or 1.2 billion or 1.3, whatever it is, that they would be making a sound and prudent decision to go and talk to a financial planner. I don't know. Maybe a poor example. You may actually need an estate planner at that point, and a tax accountant, and maybe three or four financial wealth managers at that point. Perhaps maybe money well spent as far as that goes. But the majority of people don't live in that scenario. The majority of people, I would presume, are probably below the maximum Roth IRA contribution caps of $130,000 per year as a single person, right? Certainly, double that up. I think it's 250 as a married couple. I haven't looked at it for a long, long time, but you'll understand my drift here in understanding that. I'm not speaking to those people that already have accumulated wealth. I'm actually speaking to those people who are the most applicable candidates. They are the ones that need to invest the most. Those are the people who need the most coaching, mentoring, dare I say help. We don't need to do that. I'm not here to judge you. If you don't want help, no problem. Hell, I want help. You got help to render for me, I'll accept your help. I don't have a pride issue. Okay. That's the humbling nature of myself. And I think a lot of people need to maybe drop a little bit of that pride, drop what it is they think they know about personal finance and what it is that they've got figured out after 5 minutes of thinking about it in their life. And yeah, no, I'm good. I got this stuff. This is great. This is killer. Or maybe dropping the misconception a little bit uh, of the barriers that exist within social media, especially YouTube, and the bad rap that is earned. It's earned. I think social media, especially YouTube and the personal finance niche, probably, if not, I would say with certainty, causes more damage than it does good. Sure. Ah, you're being cynical, Ryan. No, I'm just being truthful. No, I absolutely believe that. Three stocks to buy in a month? Who cares? Doesn't matter. If it's not applicable to you, then it does not apply to you. And that's it. So it's a lot of blah, blah, hoopla. And it comes back to my insistence that people really need to understand what they want out of investing. It's the number one question I ask people. They come to me, I have 5 grand. What should I do with it, Ryan? I don't know. Why do you want to invest? I don't know. I never thought about that. Really? What's your goal for that money? What's your target retirement date? I mean, what are you looking at? I mean, you're 19 years old. Are you expecting to live till 69, 70, 71, 72? Maybe you want to retire a little early, 55, 50. Most of the young kids now are, I want to be retire at 23. Okay. All right. Well, you got a little tighter timeline. I don't know if there's a financial product. Maybe you should play the lottery if that's what you want to do, right? Because you definitely can. Now, the odds of you succeeding at that, very, very low, right? Odds of you succeeding following a tried and true program of value investing for your entire life, much, much higher level of success. And dare I might say, with a certain adherence to some governing rules in value investing and long-term passive investing, you are a shoe-in to win. And dare I might say, you will win. You will. hmm Great to see the group in here, man. Very, very cool. Get to some comments here. Here's find love and dating. You guys are all administrators. You guys can get that stuff out of here if you want to. All right, so it's Aduro, ADURO, Clean Technologies, and the ticker symbol is ACTHF. I'll throw it in the comments section now. CTHF. So there it is for you, Robert. I appreciate that clarity. It's Aduro, ADURO, Clean Technologies, and you can Google it, check it out. Current stock price, I think it's trading around 67%. It's taking a little gap up. It's actually a very, very difficult to, JJ's missing the wrench. You got to be kidding me. I thought you had a wrench. No, you not. You got one, but Robert doesn't have one. So he gets one right now. And there he is. Robert's a moderator for that question. Very cool stuff. You can get rid of the crap in my comment section if you guys want. Very cool. And you're not missing your wrench, man. You have one. Look again. But yeah, plastic recycling stock. It is ACTHF, ACT in Canada. So depending on what you need, it is a Q board, QX, or a QB OTC. So it does have those financial disclosures right at about 40 million in market cap right now. It will be in the process of being re-rated right now. The problem is the access to the stock. I had a little bit of difficulty buying the stock. If you do have TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, or Interactive Brokers, those are the three that have been successful in buying the stock. I can't even get it to register with Charles Schwab. Robinhood, no. M1 Finance, no. Webull, no. Merrill Edge, I spoke to a trading specialist. That was an interesting conversation. Let me tell you what. Oh, we just don't do that for our customers anymore. It's like, really? Yeah, we'll probably wait until it gets to like $5 or $6 and then we'll offer it. And like, really? After it's gone up 1,000%? Oh, that's awesome. What a great deal that is. Thanks a lot. I've been disappointed 2 times over here on my good tried and true. I've been with Merrill, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch for many, many years, 2 decades now, going on over 20 years. I'm a preferred customer with them. They've disappointed me the last couple of times. I'm really not sure. And it really does kind of put Fidelity and TD Ameritrade right there on the top of the pack. If you want to engage in this level of trading, you can do so with some relative success with those two. Make sure I got that ticker symbol right. Yes, I do. I'll throw it in the screen here for you guys that aren't down on that specific section. So you guys can write it down, take a look-see. Expect that I'm going to be probably rolling out some longer-term content on it. This week, I'll be doing an interview on one of the YouTube channel creators that actually broke the story. I'll be interviewing him probably Wednesday or Thursday, but I'll be doing my own independent profiling of the company on Monday. I've already done my due diligence. I could do it in my sleep. This company's badass. It's badass. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat the fact that I'm excited. If I wasn't excited, I would tell you, just throw it away and go move on to the other 10,000 stocks out there. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to take a look at. And that again was independent of my research prior to, or excuse me, yeah, the research prior to, and then this announcement came, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I was able to grab 2,100 shares just today. I'll probably be grabbing another at least 8,000 shares come Monday. I'm just waiting for funding to clear, and we'll be entering into the stock. We'll be long holding the stock until a target date of 2027. So that's what we've got. I told you guys at the top of the live stream, millionaires would be made now. Let's digress a little bit and talk a little bit about this 2022 market. What were the goods and the bads? Sure would have been nice to just sell everything and just stay out of these volatile markets. Where would you have been here now with the market up? The market's up 22. I don't know where it finished today, but it's been on a little bit of a silent spree. Interest rates raised by 75 basis points again this week, kind of put a roadblock right in the front of what was a fairly momentous market coming into November here. At least for the last couple of weeks, it's been quite good. After all is said and done, take a moment and ask yourself, would you have been better off just selling everything and leaving yourself out of the stress of the up and the down and the this and the that and the if you're one of those people that said yes, you would be wrong, okay? Because we come full circle, and here we are. What is today? November 4th, right? On the Independent Investor live stream. And I've always contended that investors do the best job that they possibly can in separating from their money. People are too intimate with their money. The inflow, the outflow, it's sickening, like really sickening. I got to have cash in my wallet just in case of an emergency. Really? In this country? You're fine. You're fine. You're going to be taken care of if you have plastic. You're fine. Okay. You don't need cash. Cash is dirty. But I really think people are way too intimate with their money in that they overemphasize the impact of having the paycheck, having it come in, and being able to really tangibly see that inflow and especially that outflow hit the bills like whack-a-mole. Utilities, car payment, house payment, and it's like karate chopping, and you get some sort of like, I don't know, maybe like enjoyment out of that. I'm not sure, but you do that habitually every 2 weeks, year after year after year after year, and pretty soon you're a karate master, and that's it. You're super, super dialed in on the expectation of that inflow. You know exactly when to look at your account and see it hit. Yep, there it is, right? And then the outflow, you're very, very process oriented in that you pay the utility bill first, and my God, and I'm going to pay that car loan second. And look at that, I only owe $48,662 on that, and my God, we're chipping away at it. You know, that house loan, I just bought this house for $672,000, and I'm going to end up paying $2.2 million with this 7.2% interest rate that I got in for, but I'm going to pay that bill, and it feels good to pay the bill. Doesn't matter the lack of implication of that particular bill. It's just the very nature of paying that bill that feels really good. The one that kills me the most, and I have family that I love that succumb to this, and it's paying the minimum payment on a credit card. Seriously, the masses do this. I should throw the sheep up here because before I tell the story, honestly, this is going to allow you to have this hit home. Yes, I want to give the financial institutions interest. Yes, please, show me the way. Show me the way. Please, what are all these people running for? You wonder how these businesses can exist, brick and mortar style. That's why. That's why Visa makes more than the entire country of Australia. It's because people haven't figured out that you're a phenomenal customer. The crappier you are with credit, they love you. They hate guys like me. They hate guys like me. I think they stopped sending me a credit card statement. It was a waste of trees because I pay multiple payments. When I get a little balance, boom, I scrub it. I get a little balance, I scrub it. Get a little balance, I scrub it. Now over here, they're giving me a bunch of free points for my groceries, my fuel. I buy everything on credit. Everything. If you're smart, buy everything on credit. Everything. It's all protected. Debit card is not protected. Credit card is protected. Every transaction that you have, I've seen this play out many, many times. Buy that on credit. Buy it on credit. Okay. You're racking up these points over here. It's free money. It's free money. Okay. Now, this is not a financial strategy in and of itself. Okay. Make no mistake. Don't sit here and be like, okay, Ryan's talking about I can still do my inflow and my outflow, as long as I just swipe my credit card over and over again. This is awesome. I can retire a millionaire and I'm going to win this $1.2 billion jackpot that's out. I'm not saying that, okay? It is a very, very small niche, one that I disagree wholeheartedly with Mr. Ramsey on, in that I do not patronize people, okay? The statistics would show that people are absolutely shita with credit. They're terrible, okay? So that I do agree with them. Maybe I do give people more credit than they deserve, but I refuse to patronize people and suggest that if you're responsible, buy everything on credit, okay? Pay it off multiple times. I talked to a guy just today, a colleague. He's got an 820 credit score because he does the same thing as me. I was refreshed because I never meet people who do that. If you do, please share in the comments section. Say, yes, I'm a credit card spender. You get those free points, but I'm also disciplined in doing so, right? We want to make sure that we're not providing an avenue for people who cannot take on that level of discipline. Discipline requires mental strength and fortitude to be able to engage in that type of activity by doing that. But super, super important. All right. The do's and don'ts during 2022. The do's that you should have been doing, and you've had what now, 11 months, 10 months to practice this, is buy. I've been on a buying spree strategically over the last 2022, about every month. Obviously, dollar cost averaging, but I'm not talking about that. Dollar cost averaging, I do like sleeping and putting on my safety belt. Okay. It's the barrier that I want to dissolve away for you folks in understanding that dollar cost averaging should be something that you have your own, if not a textbook definition of, for your friends and family, and you can blow them out of the water. You can be like, wow, God dang, Frank's a hell of an investor, man. Go talk to him about dollar cost averaging. This individual's incredible, right? Dollar cost freaking averaging. You should do it all the time, do it every week, do it every 2 weeks, do it every month, whatever you can afford. What I'm talking about is opportunistically looking at stock market. And while everybody else has it chalked up to be like, yeah, 2023, you might not want to invest right now because 2023 is going to be horrible. It's going to be a recession. Don't invest now. Yeah, just do the opposite. Just do the opposite. Imagine yourself with your running gear on, running as fast as you can in the opposite direction of that sheep herd. That would be kind of fun, huh? Like, see if you could make it through and see if you could actually make it through those sheep to the end. It's like rugby. They get through all the sheep in the opposite direction. That's the independent investor crowd. You have to think on your feet, okay? Do what it is that nobody's doing, okay? And the more people are not doing, the more I'm doing, right? Where there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? In stock market investing, while everybody is zigging, I'm traditionally zagging. Okay, it's made all the difference in my life. Now, I'm not saying falling over tilt to fall into what has been an unfavorable market. What I'm doing is looking at markets now and suggesting that at some point in the future, we're probably going to look at this time and probably say, I wish I would have taken advantage of that in the capacity that Ryan was talking about, or look back at it and say, hey, man, I dollar cost averaged through that. It was hard. It sucked watching my portfolio get down, but at least I was buying that. And I looked at it pretty opportunistically and said, hey, I was doing $100 every week. I bumped that up to 125, 150. If I was doing, bi-monthly schedule, I bumped it up from 150 to 250. You get the point, right? Be a little bit more aggressive when people are actually taking their foot off the accelerator. Okay, should have been buying. Stay the course. That's easy. Stay calm. That's an interesting. I come on and I get fired up because investing fires me up. It's cool. Am I the only one that thinks investing is fun and it's cool? It's okay. Like I'm admitting it to a social media audience of thousands and thousands of people, I guess. I don't know. Or the few hundred that watch me. I don't care one way or the other. I love this stuff. I freaking love it. It's great. I love how infinite of a topic it is. It all started with me. I was going to pull my small leather bound portfolio. I've talked about this. It all kind of started with me and my ability to finally find organization in my application. And I found it in my late teens, around 18, 19. I bought this. I still have it today. I still have it. Um, and that was really the help in the right direction in starting to organize my life. There was a slot for the checking, there was a slot for the cash, there was a slot for the credit cards. Boom, boom, boom. When the credit cards would become deficient, I would pull them out, I would upgrade them, and they would go in that slot. Boom, boom, boom. And I've built up, over time to where now I have American Express Platinum. You can't get any better than that. Okay. I have a little help from my job with that, but you get my drift. I can't get any better than that. I'm awesome. But I didn't start there. Okay. I started with a Sears and Roebuck card. Okay. Anybody old enough to remember Sears and Roebuck? Yeah, it used to be a thing. They used to sell washers and dryers and refrigerators and stuff like that. It was kind of cool to walk through there. They all smelled the same. They all smelled like tractors and China. Yeah, they all smelled. It was cool. But anyway, yeah, Sears and Roebuck, baby. Y'all remember that stuff? Keep perspective. That's why I double down on this message every week. That's why I hate to miss the message. But again, I do appreciate the latitude. Trust your plan. Your plan can be very, very simple. And we address those options for people no matter if you're starting investing at step one, right? Investing in the market, the S&P 500, very, very best way to segue $100 per week, whatever. If you're doing a 401k, wonderful. You already are an investor. You're killing it. And again, I don't want to patronize people. I want to make investing more commonplace amongst those people who need to talk about it more commonplace. They need to. They need to understand what works for certain people. I share what works for people. I also share what doesn't work with people. Okay, openly. All right. And I know people appreciate that transparency still 2 years out, waiting for Hyliion to turn around, and it will. It will. The wave of momentum is pushing in the right direction. Somebody called me. He says Trevor Milton is my independent investment advisor. Geez Louise, I don't know. He got really, really wealthy off the backs of a lot of people. That's a hell of a way to spend the one shot that you have in life is to rip thousands and thousands of people off. I don't know. He seems like such a big arrogant asshole that he would walk the earth and not even care. And there's people out there like that, man. I tend to spend the majority of my time not focused on assholes like that. There are tens of thousands of people just like that in this world who would step on anybody in their way to get ahead, and that's the truth of it, right? Um, I also believe that the vast majority of people out there are good people. I do. I don't believe that the world is made up of Trevor Miltons. I don't. I think he deserves what he has coming to him if he has anything coming. He was convicted. And quite frankly, I hope he enjoys the shower. that I could wish nothing best than a good soap and shower for that gentleman. And I hope he enjoys long showers with the bulls. It'd be great. Me personally, I like spending time with you guys, and there's a ton of great people in the group here who are just trying to get ahead day to day. They take their daily dose of their 60 minutes. I throw down. It goes by fast. I'm always disappointed when it's over because I could talk for hours. I could run a 24-hour live stream, and I absolutely will in the future. It's inevitable. It will happen. Mark my words, I will run a 24-hour live stream. Nobody else has done it. I'll do it because I can and I will. It's that simple, okay? Because I love the topic and we will be there. Um, During the downturn, you want to make sure that you're not hyper focused on the market. You want to take a break from financial markets. I don't know, man. Pick up a guitar, pick up a physical fitness activity. I don't know. Get your ass off the couch, go walk, do something other than stare at the stock market. Okay, hopefully you learned that throughout this deal. And then lastly, a renewed refocus to make sure that you're looking at your current program, seeing how it actually reacted to the volatility, and maybe look for areas of improvement. Now what you don't want to do, here's the flip side of this. Okay, here's the bad stuff, and I think a lot of people, they succumb to the bads. They do. People are inherently weak. Um, I'm a lot harsher. I'm trying to be above board tonight. I really am. But here's what people cannot, they always succumb to the pressure, okay? They panic, they give in to their own emotion, right? That's becoming hypersensitive, and boom, they fall on tilt and they're out. Ah, this sucks. This sucks. I'm going to take this $22,000 of wealth and I'm going to go on a big vacation. Hell, I'm going to enjoy this money. I've spent 3.5 years building up this 22,000, and I'm going to make an emotional decision to take it all out, and I'm going to Europe. Okay, I am going to have the vacation of a lifetime, by God, because this is idiotic watching it vaporize at the whims of the stock market. Big mistake. Selling is a mistake. Just take it off the table during the times like this. Never sell. Very simple. Um, Act emotionally, and quite frankly, a lot of people do give up. There's a lot of people that are still scarred from downturns of past, that basically it would be too much of a mental barrier to step back into financial markets at this particular juncture, because of the scars that exist. And you can help that by entering into financial markets in a way that is aimed or leveraged toward defense. hmm That's why a lot of people, when markets are flying off the counter and the FANG stocks, you remember that? When was the last time you heard FANG? Yeah, have you heard FANG in 2000? Most of them are down. Shit, I think the Nasdaq, the triple Qs, the Nasdaq is down huge. I don't know what the statistics are, but Facebook's up down 75% from the high, and it was all the craze. I still think it's a fabulous company. I'm not sure that such a huge paradigm shift within the company was that necessary. They kind of are, the optics are such that they've surrendered their core business, and that's not the case at all. But they are investing a ton in the metaverse, and maybe it'll pay off, maybe it won't. I don't know, but it's just one company, and you would have never thought this 2 years ago, by the rhetoric that was being thrown out on Facebook, to say we're running toward a cliff and the stock is going to drop 75%. Really terrible. FANG. We haven't heard that in 2022. Remember, that was all the craze. Just buy FANG and you'll be fine. There were portfolios on YouTube that were centered around just FANG. That's it. That's all they owned. hmm Yeah. Yeah. Interesting enough. Interesting enough. Let's get to some comments here. Before we do that, I want to suggest that you guys think about a couple things. I try to dig deep and think about what is going to help you as a takeaway. So here's the takeaways from tonight's live stream. Expand your reach. If you are one of those independent investors out there that have checking savings, 401k, 403b, or an individual Roth IRA account, think about the opportunity maybe to open up an additional layer. You'd be amazed. You may not understand how you're going to react to it, but maybe you look at your program and you're like, yeah, it's pretty simple. Maybe I do have the ability to start a taxable brokerage account with my spouse. I can do something like that. Level up, expand your reach. That's the key, okay? What I'm trying to get you to mentally adhere to is never stop expanding your reach. That's the end goal. Okay. So I challenge you rhetorically to expand your reach with the idea that you can get where I am in never stop expanding your reach. Okay. Build upon an organized core. I spoke about this a little bit earlier. Organization is key in personal finance. You have to really understand. I hate the word budget. I hate it. People are like, sit down with a pen and a paper and write down your expenditures and keep a running tally of how much you buy for the. I hate doing that. I refuse to do it. Refuse to do it. But I have certain disciplines that I think are independent to me that help me categorize, and I don't spend money. I don't. I'm a cheap bastard. For you guys that come on every single Friday and they're like, yeah, dang, Ryan, I don't know, maybe buy another shirt. I don't know. You wear the same shirt. I have my live stream favorites. All right, leave me alone. I don't currently have socks. I do that despite the man. Okay. I do that to suggest that you can actually talk about personal finance without the compliments of a suit and tie. I've always scoffed at that idea. You don't have to be in some secret society to talk about Procter and Gamble. You don't need to do that, okay? It exists, okay? I can guarantee there's probably a product in your cupboard that is sold by Johnson and Johnson. All right, I would almost give you a certainty guarantee. All right, but to get some organization, the documents, the accounts, making sure that you're always pushing toward that inevitable um, memorialization of your core funding, or dare I say, your portfolio, but I mean it holistically. So eventually it can all move into a potential living trust down the line. Okay, that's inevitably what we want to do is we want to make sure memorialize the holdings and we can actually award that living trust. The trust is just an umbrella. That's it. It's only as good as the particulars within that trust that make that living trust a core legacy for your heirs when they take it on and they take on the administrative functions of that particular living trust. Okay. Um, Challenge your own specific understanding. That's key. That kind of goes without saying. Be dynamic with your application. I talked about the strategy. Am I suggesting going and buying cryptocurrency? That's you're on your own there. Okay. Am I suggesting going and buying a Duro? But here's the thing. You heard me out. I'm buying shares myself. You do whatever you want. I don't care. You do whatever you want. I share it with you because if I was the recipient of that message and I heard me, I would go and I would at least take a look. It's free. I'm not going to send you a bill. You're not going to pay the bill if I send it anyway. It's free, right? If you made $100 with it, when was the last time would have been excited about finding $100 on the sidewalk or going and buying a scratch off ticket at the gas station and you're just overblown away that you won $100? You know, you've got a pretty good fighting chance of maybe, I don't know, entering into said stock and maybe having it appreciate. Maybe it depreciates and goes away. I don't know. Then I'm the bad guy. I don't know. You're on your own with your own financial decisions, but this is the beauty of social media is that we can kind of talk openly about some of these ideas that exist out there on the landscape. The press release is public information. It's already been released. It's out there. And without folks like myself and people who paid it forward to me, I wouldn't have been the wiser. I wouldn't have been the wiser. And now look at you. You came into a 60-minute live stream and you've got a nice company to take a look at that's doing very, very big things under the radar. And that, my friends, is extremely, extremely valuable. Let's get to some comments here, guys, as we close it out. Very, very cool stuff. Paul is sad lately. I don't know about his disposition. I've been accused of being angry. I've been accused of not responding to him, which I find really interesting. He's never responded to me. I've sent him really long back in the day when I was actually very interested. I'm still interested. He's always welcome on the channel. He could come on any Friday with no problem, and I think he would be pleasantly surprised at my professionalism and my courteous nature. I think we would actually have a riveting discussion. Riveting. I don't think the man is. He's not a dumb man. He's not. I never say that about anybody else out there. I respect all people and their opinions. I just can't have a hard time following back and forth. And the last quotes that he took from me off of Twitter, they were responses. Both of them were responses to something else. So without the context of the question, the very question that I was answering about the 6,600 units, I wasn't making a statement. I was answering somebody's question. And he took it as if it was a standalone statement. That's what happens in social media. And he's smart enough to understand that. But that's the problem that I have, is taking stuff to fit the narrative. I don't understand that, man. I just don't understand him. I just have a weird feeling that he's frustrated that he can't get like a following on YouTube. I don't know, maybe try not changing the name of your YouTube channel every week. That might help give people a little bit of consistency. Um, I've been accused of not providing consistency. My dividend growth strategy has not changed. My passive investing strategy has not changed. Ryan, why do you talk about Hyliion every week? Because I want to. Piss off. Have you not learned that I do what I want, when I want, and how I want? I expect you to take on the same mentality. Say it. It feels good. It's liberating to say such things. Say such things. Do what you want. Okay. If you want to shut me off, do it. I've had a ton of people unsubscribe from the channel. I think it's amazing. It's fantastic. If I had a way to track those people, I would block them altogether from every entering back into the channel. Why? Because what you're getting to see here is an evolution to something incredible. I did not come from wealth. I had no head start. I've done all this on my own. Okay. And that's what makes what I do special. That's what makes it special. Because if I can share that story with people who are out there and they're being cut from the same cloth that I was cut from, yeah, the dirt and the mud and the hay and the country, right? Which is, I wouldn't have traded it for nothing. Okay. But as far as like what society would suggest is going to be right for me, right? Going to high school, getting a job, dare I get to go to college, and actually get a higher education, right? The fact that I'm staring down the amount of wealth that I'm staring down absolutely qualifies me to sit the chair. It absolutely does. And I will not apologize for that. Drop in to say hi. Appreciate you. This is one of my favorite individuals. If you do follow me, kick over to Twitter, follow Silent Alert, Andreas. And Silent Alert has a YouTube channel out now. I really think you should kick over and watch this guy. He's fantastic, very genuine. The community, for the most part, is pretty genuine. We have a few outliers, and I get a little crazy sometimes too. But you're going to follow this guy. He's just started to actually upload content. I think on his, on his time to a regular job, which is what I enjoy most of the time. You know, I've got a lot of respect for him. I hold him in the highest regard, and for me to say that, it absolutely carries weight. You want to make sure and support this guy. He's absolutely wonderful. Need to get a little bit of validation. I think there was a slight breakdown that I reviewed this week from Silent Alert on these earnings that are upcoming for Hyliion. I have very, 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 very low expectations. If they're over 500,000 of revenue for Q3, I will be surprised. And I've set my expectations dismally low. Therefore, I'm going to try to really kind of keep it curtailed this time, because I just think we need to chalk up 2023 as a loss and move right on into what I feel is going to be eventually a potential catalyst year for Hyliion as we step into a little bit more of a volume production as we step into the back half of 2023. But Silent Alert is great, man. Fantastic job. And thanks for stopping by, my friend. Good stuff. Very good. Very good. He's got another comment. He says, loss of content from the Discord, credit to them. Sure, sure. And I always throw that content out there. Usually when I do the live stream, I try to keep the Hyliion stuff to a dull roar, just because I do devote so much of the channel time. And there's probably a lot of people out there that, you know, they don't care for whatever reason. And no problem. It's not for everybody. But absolutely, the Discord group is one that I continually shout out as being the single best drop point, in addition to the Hyliion.com website. If you're interested in the story, to kick in there, the community's fantastic. You can have banter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Discord group is like 7-Eleven. They're one of those businesses that are always, always around. So if you want to go get yourself a Slurpee, drop into the Discord group, man. They'll be glad to have you. It's awesome stuff. Appreciate that. Thank you. Anyway, we got less than a minute left. It was absolutely fantastic. I had no idea what I was going to talk about tonight, but we ended up filling 60 minutes with a lot of hoopla, yippity yoop ya, lippity doop da. That's what we did tonight. Hopefully, I said some things that resonated with you that can actually help you. If I felt like I was wasting my time and wasn't saying those things from my own personal agenda to drive deep and actually help those people out there that are trying to make sense of financial markets, this is the discipline that I feel like is the most prudent and the most necessary to actually have a fighting chance in markets. If you succumb to some of the don'ts that I talked about tonight, you will fail in investing. And might I suggest that most people fail for this very regard because they lose that mental edge. And that's what we're trying to do, is sharpen that mental edge on the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. Guys, be well. Take it easy. We'll catch you next Friday on the Independent Investor Channel live stream.